curd pancakes and biscuits with jam. The menu for the most famous woman in the Grand Duchy of Lithuania.
If cows in today's Lithuania found out that they're being fed what Barbara Radziwiłł once ate 500 years ago, perhaps there might be some major changes in the Lithuanian dairy industry. It's time for soup, Your Grace, the head footman would proclaim as servants would ladle hogweed broth into Barbara's dish. The same hogweed growing in any old field, harvested by farmers and tossed into slop for the animals. Soup made from these plants was sipped almost every day by Grand Duchy's most famous women, at least for as long as she lived at the palace of the Grand Dukes in Vilnius. Dishes made from hogweed were also enjoyed by other European monarchs, including the English Tudors. Barbara Radziwiłł and her courtiers would dine twice a day, and at times which might seem a bit late to us today. They'd sit down to breakfast no earlier than 9 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes as late as noon. Lunch would be served around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. We'd probably be surprised by the Renaissance-era lunch or breakfast menu, because there wasn't much difference between them, and both had a considerable amount of meat. Barbara's head chef, Irzik, selected the tastiest cuts for his mistress. To be sure, usually beef or veal, and sometimes lamb. Pork was less popular, although Barbara was well known not to refuse bacon or cooked pig's liver. But the centerpiece on most tables was domestic or wildfowl, small and large, from peacock to partridge. In his cooking and grilling, Irzik used all sorts of spices and accompanied main dishes with various kinds of vegetables, such as turnips, cabbage, horseradish and spinach. Then it would come time for sweets. Nuts, still warm, in one plate, another plate with sugary sweets boiled in rose water, and still another with apricots and oranges, which only aristocrats could afford back then. Barbara also loved curd dumplings with cheeses made from sweet cream, and what she wouldn't give for honey cakes served with jam, which meant Irzik would have to bake honey cakes several times a day. Sometimes, however, this horn of plenty and its flow of meats and delicacies had to be shut off. Actually, not even just sometimes, but often, since back then, fasting had to be observed every Friday, as well as before Christmas and Easter and on other special occasions. A total of 139 days per year. At those times, the meat on Barbara's table would be replaced by pike, tench and salmon, but wine flowed every day. Residents at the palace of the Grand Dukes also loved their mead, or to drink beer accompanied by boiled crayfish. As befits the wife of a ruler, Barbara would enjoy her breakfast and lunch at a table decorated with flowers. Servants would bring fresh roses, lavender and violets every morning into the main hall. Barbara's husband, Sigismund Augustus, made sure that his love wanted for nothing in Vilnius. Today, however, it might be hard for us to listen to the way Barbara might have thanked him, since, in the Renaissance style, the simple phrase, "thank you," had to be replaced by the longest of diatribes, and the address, "Your Royal Highness," had to be repeated about 6 times.